Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first video, hi, I'm Elena, and this is The Organized Money, where we talk about planning life and managing money. In today's video, I wanted to share with you how I close out my weekly budget. For this process, I use a black and red pen, some highlighters, and my calculator. And then of course, I am also using my budget planner for this process. So I'm going to share with you how I keep track of my expenses, how I categorize them at the end of the week, and how I close out my budget every single week. My budget planner is an undated planner that I created. If you're interested in it, I will have it linked in the description box. I do sell it on Etsy, but within this planner, I will usually keep track on my paycheck budget sheet all of my transactions that have occurred that week. I will usually also add in another half sheet in order to keep track of additional transactions that have occurred. I like to keep track of our transactions based on a week. So this is for the week of August 9th through Sunday, August 15th. Today is Sunday, August 15th. So it will kind of have a little bit of a lag where I will have to leave some space for some additional transactions and really close it out completely on tomorrow. But I will have a good gist of where we are for the entire week and know how much we have spent. So as you can see so far, I have already added in the transactions from August 9th, some from August 10th, and I have a couple from August 11th. And what I like to do is decide on my color code for the week. So subscriptions will be the color gray this week. And basically next to the amount, I will add the gray highlighter there so that I am able to jot down that it was a subscription. Food will be the color blue. And I will do the same where I am highlighting next to the transaction. And then after I do all of the transactions that are there already, the next thing that I will do is add in the new transactions from my bank app. And I will usually pull this up on my bank app with Chase, and then I'm able to look at all of the transactions next to that particular date and then write them down as they come in. I usually do like to do this process a couple of days after the date, because we have a lot of pending transactions, and sometimes the way that the bank app works, you aren't really able to see all of the transactions that have cleared your bank account until a few days after. So I do like to kind of keep track. A couple days after, I will look at my bank app and kind of go back so that I know I am looking at an accurate description of all of the transactions that have happened that week. After I have highlighted all of my transactions, the next thing that I do is go in with my pen. And basically all of the colors that are alike, I will assign a category. I usually will like to keep my categories up to no more than like 7 or 8. I feel like when I go above 8 categories, it starts to get diluted and it starts to become really difficult for me to really decide if we are overspending in a particular area. So I do like to keep certain things like mapped together. So groceries and eating out, I will just put them all under food so that if we are overspending on food as a total, then I'll be able to just pinpoint that we're just overspending on food. And then we will just decide, okay, is it our eating out or was it our groceries that was the ultimate culprit? But if I broke it down from groceries to eating out to all of the fast food to all of the other little things that kind of happen, I feel like it's very challenging for me to figure out if we are overspending or not. So this process has worked out so much better for us, me grouping all of them together and just deciding and looking at the category as a whole instead of having a bunch of subgroups. So now that I have already categorized all of the transactions that have already occurred, the next thing that I'm going to do is add in all of the new transactions. So this point, I am basically looking at my phone. It is off screen, so you can't see it, but I'm looking at the transactions on my bank app on my phone, and I am just adding them in my paycheck budget. Now, when I am coaching people, I do tell them that they don't have to do this entire process. A lot of times within your bank app, it will summarize your transactions for you, and it will tell you where you are spending your money. This is something that I just prefer. I really do enjoy this process. I really do find it therapeutic. So it's something that I really just enjoy doing, which is why I continue to do it. But if this is not your jam, if you don't like doing things like this, you do not have to be this tedious. You can definitely just look at your bank app and see how you're currently spending your money and make decisions based on that. Another thing that happened this week that was out of the ordinary was I had to cover our flood insurance. As you know, we live in New Orleans, so we do have flood insurance, which is separate and apart from our homeowner's insurance, and I usually do pay it outright. And this one just came up. It came up on August 12th, and it was $572. When things like that happen, that is considered a sinking fund expense for us and not really a weekly expense, because this is not something that would happen normally. It does not happen every single month, and it is not a part of our variable expense budget. It is separate and apart. So what I will usually do is calculate how much we have spent for the entire week, but I will back out anything that is considered a sinking fund or an emergency fund purchase so that I can have the true number of how much we have spent for the week, and it doesn't look too inflated because of something like car maintenance, flood insurance, or something else that we had to pay because it came up, but it's not a normal expense. It's a sinking fund expense. So now we're just going to go in and color code and add all of the categories for all of the transactions that we have just added to the sheet. And as you can see, we have the half sheet, and I also have my paycheck budget sheet. So I will usually start on my paycheck budget sheet. That's where I will start off the week, and then I will continue on with the half sheet to finish out all of the expenses that I have for that week. After I have finished categorizing everything, the next step is to add up all of the transactions so that we can see where we are for the week, how much we have spent. The goal is to stay under $1,000. That's why it's at the very top. And I do have a subtotal of $374.31. That's just a way for me to quickly not have to add up all of the transactions that I have done earlier in the week. I will usually add a subtotal so I could just start with that subtotal and add all of the new transactions. So that is what I am currently doing now. And then I'm going to do two totals. One is going to actually include the flood insurance and the auto discount thing that we did. And all of this has to do with our overall insurance, which are actually sinking fund numbers. So I'm going to do one total where I add all of that up so that we can see where we are. And then I'm going to subtract it back out so that I can see where we actually are with our overall variable expenses. So the total for the week is $1,283.35. But like I said, that is including the flood insurance and the auto insurance thing that we did. So I'm going to subtract those both back out so that I can see the actual total, which is actually $691.36. So if we were over budget, if this number was above 1,000, what I would do at that point is add up all of the individual categories so I could pinpoint which area we were going over budget, and then we would correct that area. If it was food, which it usually is food if we're over, then I would say, okay, we are not eating out for the rest of the month or something like that. But we are good right now, so this is the end of the process. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, Keep organizing your life so that you can achieve your dreams. Bye, guys.